Hey, have you ever had an idea for a new product or new service and didn't really know how to turn that product into a marketable thing and build a business around it? My name is Dave. Not here to say anything. I'm just telling you how I did it with my products. I've done millions of dollars in sales. I've been doing this about 10 years, and pretty much everything that I sell is something I invented, patented, and put on the market. So not a lawyer, this is not legal advice. This is just how I do it personally. So this is the or the process that I use when I put something new out there. And I'm going to go over patenting and how to put things online and how to get product market fit and to figure out if it's even worth messing with or if it's just a good idea that you just literally popped up with in your head. And this is a general rundown of how I do it. So I was just having a conversation with one of my clients this morning about this, and kind of the process of how I went through it. And I figured it was complex enough. I needed to kind of put it on a video. So basically, this is how it works. So you get your idea, we'll do a little light bulb. So here's your idea. And your idea right now is just an idea. So you got to figure out how to turn this thing into cash. So anyway, no matter how good this thing is, it's worthless in this stage. So what we need to do is start going through the steps to turn this into a product. Okay, so now you need to figure out the CAD design. So the CAD design, you're going to do this with a certain for a certain couple reasons. One is in your manufacturing costs. Now, if you're doing a service or something, you really don't have to worry about this too much. So if you're doing a product, you need to start working on the CAD design or getting plans or whatever. And easiest way to do that's CAD. I use AutoCAD and Fusion 360 just because it is so stinking easy to use. If you need any training on Fusion 360, the easiest, cheapest way of doing it is through a Coursera course. I think edX has a free course, or you can use Udemy. All of these are pretty good, and you're looking at 50 to 100 bucks to learn how to do that. And this is going to be essential for changing your design, updating your design, and doing the technical drawings for your manufacturing. So once you get this stuff done, you need to start moving into the patent territory. Now, if you're doing something brand new, you really want to look at doing a patent. Now, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. This is just how I do it. So you take your patent idea, and you've already got, some of your idea of how you're going to do it from your CAD design, and you're going to need, those renderings in your patent. So the way I like to do patents is, since this is a new idea and you don't know if this thing's going to work or not, the way I do patents is I like to start out with what's called a provisional. And this gives you 1 year from the time of filing to figure out if you're going to move this into a utility patent, design patent, whatever. And, I've got two patent attorneys that I use that are fantastic. If you ask, I'll, give you my recommendations on them because they're great. So the way I do my patents is I start out with a provisional. And you can get those done through LegalZoom, and they will walk you all the way through the process. And I think it's like 400 bucks. Really not that expensive. But what this lets you do is, now that you have the idea of what you're going to do, and now you have patent protection, you are now patent pending. And now that you're patent pending, you can start advertising. And your advertising is where you're going to start figuring out, is this thing worth building? Is this thing worth selling, moving on, moving through? Are people going to hate it? And you start working on your product, market, fit. And your product market fit is where you figure how many of these things are going to sell. And you're going to have to go back and forth with your design sometimes to figure out if this is the thing that's really going to be sellable. So once you figure out product market fit, and now that you've gotten the patent taken care of, you can start figuring out, okay, I'm going to move on this product. So you move into your product. Now, granted, you only have a year to do this and still be covered under the patent, or you're going to have to move into a utility patent. So now that you're working on the product, now that you've got product market fit, you know these things are going to sell, you need to either self-fund, take out a loan, do whatever you need to get that initial, product manufactured. Now, I've done this a bunch of different ways. The easiest way was just, pay for the manufacturer, get it in, start, selling it. So, and I'll go into how to do that here in a minute, but I've also done this in pre-sales. So if you have a hot enough product, you can actually fund your product manufacturer through pre-sales. Now, there's a lot of ways to do this. I've done it with physical products. It was a huge pain in the ass. I've done it with software. There's a couple ways that I've done this before, but the easiest, cheapest, and safest way of doing that is just pay for it. Go for small batch. You're not looking to make money. You're just looking to make those initial sales and get to $1. You're looking for the first sale of the product and just pay for it if you can. If you can't do that, look at pre-sales. Last, if you can't do it any other way, loans, borrowing, or angels. Last step, because it's a huge pain no matter however way you do it. If you can get a loan through Visa and MasterCard, do that. That's way better than doing anything else, but just, that's almost under just pay for it. If you have to get a bank loan, it's going to be hard, new product and all. But let's say that you've got the manufacturing worked out. A lot of times when you're doing the manufacturing, they're going to need the product design stuff up here, which is why you do the CAD stuff first, and it really helps you to kind of figure that out. Any changes the manufacturers are going to make, you're going to make up here in the CAD program. So now that you've got some product market fit, you've worked on your patent, you've got your product figured out of how you're going to do it. Now you move into sales. Now, on sales, the easiest way to do this is online because it's cheap. You can set up a Shopify for free starting out. You can take pictures with your phone. There's a lot of easy ways of doing this. Now, if you've got something that has a lot of variation to it, a lot of different product colors, a lot of different ways of doing it, or if it's a custom product, the Shopifys and the BigCommerce, who I use for years, they're okay, but they're only set up for like certain things. They're not real good with a lot of variation, changing things. There's certain things these are good for, certain things they're not. If you need something more complex or more that's got more custom inputs in it, you probably need to move into something like a WooCommerce or like a Magento. These are a bit more expensive and they take longer to learn. Not necessarily hard, just, it's going to take some time. Like, you're not going to just turn around and build this solution. But realistically, unless you got something too hard, you're still probably right around the $1,000 to $5,000 range to build a site. This thing up here, you're within about $30 a month to maybe $500, depending on the level of complexity and how much needs to be done. If you get stuff like a lot of the stuff I sell has a lot of variation, and because I'm a manufacturer, we have to really figure this out. I had to actually write my own site, and this is called coding, and If you can avoid this, avoid it. If you can't, you know, you just got to bite the bullet. And, you know, I taught myself how to do it. It took 2 years. Not fun. But what you do when you do this, and this doesn't go into the marketing and all that, you know, that's another, that's several videos. But, you know, anyway, this is just the process I use of how to turn your idea into a finished product and the steps you need to go through. So the first is idea. You know, get your idea, figure out that, hey, somebody's going to pay me for this thing. And then you move into the actual design. And I don't mean like the back of a napkin. I mean, you actually tell people this material, this, you know, these dimensions, this is how I'm going to do it. Now, if you're doing a service, you can pretty much just skip this side of it. Now, on the patent side, start with a provisional. You know, you can get those through LegalZoom. I think they're about $350 or so. Get that patent pending if you can. If it's patentable, figure out how to get a patent pending, because you may not ever take this through a full patent, but you want that patent pending on there because it makes what you're doing innovative, new, and more marketable just by having a patent pending, because people like new things. That's just people. That's how they work. So once you get that figured out, you're moving into the product side. The product side is where you start figuring out how to manufacture this thing effectively, how to do it cost effectively, how to get your product market fit in with your manufacturing cost, and figure that out. And then you move into sales. And now the sales is, you know, whether you're going online and what platform to use. And, you know, this is where you figure out the marketing, all that. And there's a lot to this, I know. But when you get this done right, you can do this whole process within about 2 weeks. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I've gone from idea, thrown it together within 2 hours on CAD software, already been to manufacturing.com, Alibaba, if you want to do overseas, you know, start putting that stuff out there. I've done this. Like, I have done this a lot. I've done this on a lot of products. And it's a good, proven way of getting your stuff out there.